Everybody wants to be, but nobody wants to do. Girl, it's time to be real, raw, and relentless. Everybody wants to be, but nobody wants to do. You know it's time.
Recrown you.
It's your girl, Truly Inspired Martin, and welcome to another episode of the Recrown You podcast, baby. That's right, ladies. We're here for the women who are ready to be real, raw, and relentless in their pursuit to unleash their inner badass. So what exactly does that mean for you? That means that you are a woman that is on a journey that you do not know what is ahead of you, but you said, I'm gonna go for it anyway. You're the woman that says, I've been through some shit, but I really am just ready to shed myself of my past. You're the woman that says, I know that there's something ahead of me, and I'm ready to find what that thing is. And ladies, we are here for you. So it's your girl, Truly Inspired Martin, the Millennial Reset Coach, and I'm super excited about today's episode because it's going to be a little bit different from the other episodes, right? This one is so important to me. Okay, yeah, y'all know I just got real goofy, but it's very important to me because this past week I celebrated my 5-year anniversary with my man, okay? Alright, some of us can't make it past 2 days, 5 months. Shoot. I was one of them people that couldn't probably make it past a year because these dudes are so trifling. Trust me, I was one of them ladies saying exactly that. These dudes is trifling. They be tripping. There's no good men out here, especially in Atlanta. Sorry, ladies. But that's not always true, right? And when we get into our little story today, you're going to hear some more details on how we met and like all the other little juicy factors, right? But I'm so excited to bring somebody on today that y'all don't never hear from because he in the shadows, but he is the backbone. He is my support system. He is my best friend, my lover, my homie, all that good stuff, right? And I think that we need to have this conversation. I think it's just important. So, y'all know how I start every episode, right? Nothing changes today. So, I got a quote for you guys today, actually, from the man himself. And the quote goes as this. There are times in life where you have to go all in. There is nothing worse than being afraid to fully commit to something because you want an easy exit, even if things go bad. Sometimes you have to go all in and live with the results, good or bad. You can't approach every situation in life with 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Ew. And I think that actually relates directly to him and I. I don't know if that's where he got the quote from for real, but shoot, it fits, okay? You gotta go all in, and that's with everything in life. I'm so excited about today's episode. We figured we'll just go ahead and title this episode Chopping It Up with BAE, because that's exactly what we're going to do. Chop it up with BAE. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring my man to the mic. Roger, what's up, babe?
What's up, my queen?
Hello. I'm so excited. We just celebrated 5 years, right?
5 years.
Ooh, you said that with you said that with some despair. How do you feel?
I feel old.
You feel old?
I feel old because you wore me down. You wore me down.
Not I wore you down.
No, I'm just joking. It's been fun. It has been fun.
5
Not
years.
all fun, but for the most part.
Sure. I'm going to say, let's keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't all been, because I think a lot of people look at, what we have, and it's rare, right, to have the kind of relationship we have where, we friends, we talk about everything, and we also have that lovers aspect, and, when people see us, it's just all great. Like, oh my God, we have a bunch of friends that be like, oh my God, I want what y'all got. Y'all are so perfect. Oh, I hate that word.
Yeah, nothing's perfect.
Nothing is perfect. So let's talk people through our little journey a little bit. 5 years. Oh my God, there's a lot that happens in 5 years. People pay off car notes in 5 years. What else happened in 5 years?
5 years, you can have a kid that's 5.
You can have a kid that's 5.
That's
correct.
big. Now imagine a kid going from a little infant to 5. 5, he's talking and walking and starting to have his own little thoughts, his or her own little thoughts.
That's kind of wild. Ooh, I graduated college in 5 years. I was supposed to graduate in 4, but the way Clark be setting my life up, I didn't end up walking until year 5. So you can graduate college in 5 years. That's the average nowadays.
Is it 5?
Yeah, 5.
I've been in college for 5 years.
I mean, that's what it looked like. I mean, a bachelor's normally take 4. So I mean,
I better be a doctor. I'm in there for 5 years.
Yeah, such is life, right? But all right, let's tell the people a little bit about the life, right? So I usually do a lot of the talking, even in this household, y'all. So I'm gonna let him tell his side, tell his story, right? So how did it begin for you?
What, us?
Yeah, us.
It began on Plenty of Fish.
Woo! Pause. Plenty of Fish. A lot of people are like, wait a minute, is that the online dating site? Sure is, guys. Online dating does work sometimes. Now, I can say that I had some real bad luck on POF, too. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I did. I think we all did.
I had some duds.
Mm-hmm. As did I.
I had some duds. But, let's talk people through the process, right? So, year 1, year 2, what did that look like for you with us?
Year 1 and 2, honestly, I was like, I think she might be a little young for me.
Uh-huh.
There were certain things that, because you were what?
When I was like
25
yeah.
at the time, so there was sometimes I was like, yeah, I think she might be a little young for me. There's certain things that you did where you displayed that you were still, younger. And because I was 34 at the time, yeah. So, there were times where I would be like, I think she might be a little bit young for me. Some of the things that she does is, it wasn't what I was used to at the time, especially with my previous relationship, her being about 6 months older than me. So, but I stuck with it. I was like, you know what? Okay, the good outweighed the bad. So,
well, thank you for sticking in there. Yeah, I definitely had a lot of growing to do. And it's funny because I think I just said this to you the other day. I was like, yo, while we were packing, I was like, yo, I said, ain't this shit crazy? I said, I grew up in front of you. I spent half of my 20s with you. Mm-hmm. And I said that is so funny to me because I can actually feel the evolution in myself. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's not get it twisted. I wasn't no childish person. I wasn't no kid, right? But in comparison to you, mm-hmm. there was things about me that was just, you could tell we were in different decades or something.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I think even that can throw people off in relationships. They'll be like, oh, nah, this ain't gonna work, right? But let's not even be funny. Some of the little kitty funny stuff I do, you do too. Okay? So, you done added up to me a little bit. Don't lie.
Should I add it up to you?
Yep.
In what way?
I'm just saying, we started to act so similar in certain things. It wasn't oh, this is a childish relationship.
No, I never said, no, this isn't childish. It just,
It was just us, learning. I think we were learning each other.
Yeah. And part of it was that we were, learning each other. But I was always quite a distinguished gentleman, and I feel that rubbed off on you, and then it helped you become the graceful, elegant lady of class that you are right now. So you're welcome.
Oh my God! Listen, put yourself in the damn closet, okay? Because that's some bull. Talk about something you rubbed off on me. First of all,
some of my refinement and gentlemanly ways.
Okay, guys, this is what I have to deal with. Okay, so he takes credit for just about everything around here. So, but okay, so jumping into like some other aspects of it, right? So when we first got together, I was coming out of a domestic violent relationship, right? So I was a broken son of something, right? And I had a lot of trust issues, real fragile, just going through a whole bunch of stuff, not even caring about like my environment, people around me. I didn't really care who I was hurting, or I just couldn't trust anybody in that moment. And was there things about me then that were kind of just like how do you deal? Because I'm pretty sure there's guys right out there that are probably like really into somebody, and they know that they just took that woman from like a broken situation, or she's been really tampered with or really hurt. Do you have like any advice for them? Like how do you deal with somebody that was like me, basically?
The key is patience.
Whew.
You just got to be patient, because if someone's coming out of a situation, there's going to be some scar tissue there, not necessarily physical, sometimes physical, but mentally, and you have to allow for some healing. If you want to pursue a relationship with that person. Sometimes it's good to just kind of take some time to heal yourself, but if you do decide to get into a relationship with someone else, then you have to be patient. Especially if you're not the person that's dealing with these scars. You have to show some patience and allow the other person time to heal, allow them to get to know you and basically see where you differ from their last relationship, if you do at all. In my case, I feel like I did differ from your last relationship. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, you definitely different. You different from everybody else. All right, so that's why I've been POP holding it down with you for 5 years. Because honey, if the grass wasn't green over here, I definitely would have cut my grass a long time ago and just cut my losses. And not to say right that the grass is greener, because nothing is perfect, and I think I need to reiterate that several times. Like we've gone through shit around here, right? But I feel like there's something that happens, and something that is important within a relationship is communication, right? So
yeah.
So when it comes to communication, what do you think is like a real key aspect in order to keep those lines of communication open, or like how do you find that our communication has helped to keep us together this long?
You got to let one another know where you stand on certain things. You have to set boundaries. Even within a relationship, you have to have boundaries. You have to let somebody know what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept. And you have to be clear on it. And it doesn't have to be in a confrontational manner. It doesn't have to be, we're fighting because, I'm setting my boundaries, so I'm going to be confrontational, I'm going to be angry, I'm going to tell her, don't do this. No, but you just have to establish what it is that you're willing to deal with and what is a deal breaker. And it doesn't have to be a painful process. There may be some growing pains,
right,
as you get used to what the other person's used to and they get used to what you're used to, but it doesn't have to be confrontational. So I think that's a big part of communication, is just letting people know where you stand from the beginning, and not, making them have to guess. Because, I gave up trying to mind read a long time ago.
That's hard. Like when you're just constantly just always trying to like think about what the other person is saying, and then you can't even get mad about somebody not knowing something about you or not knowing something's wrong if you never told that person something's wrong. Like there's no nothing. Like you can't be mad that he or she didn't do X, Y, and Z if he never even knew that was a boundary, right? And I think that's something that I hear from my homegirls a lot. Like especially out here while they dating, they like, well, he didn't fill in the blank, right? Like he didn't X, Y, and Z. But I always say, like, okay, is he even aware that he's supposed to call you when he gets home?
Did you communicate that to him?
Right. Like, does he know that you're the only one dating him? Or are you the only one thinking that you're the only one dating him? Like, stuff like that. And I think that even that exclusivity, like, we had to, like, even put that out there, right? Because in the beginning, it was kind of just like, I know I want you, you want me. But then we also had those moments of, okay, what are we doing here, right? And you said I was, you know, you could see I was a little young or whatever. I was a young tender, okay? Young and tender, a tenderoni, all right?
You good over there?
I'm good, you know, just letting the people know what it is. But I think that that's really important to really make sure that you're having that communication and those boundaries set. I think that is also a part of it. But let's go back to the groundwork, right? So the groundwork is there's a lot of things that you and I, transparency, right? A lot of things that you and I have been through that I don't think a lot of people would have lasted. And just to throw one thing out there, constant unemployment, right?
Yeah.
This job market is disrespectful. Disrespectful. Like, you done held down way more jobs and more stability than me. I'm over here, you know, team entrepreneurship, but I've also been the one that's like, okay, I'll get a job, but I'm always laid off too, right? Mm-hmm. And then it would be like a seesaw in the house. I'm laid off, you not. You laid off, I'm not. Right? Like, and we're constantly going through that. And I swear to you, I know for a fact that a lot of people would not have made it through that. True or false?
Yeah, I can't speak for, you know, other relationships, right. But yeah, I've seen money issues derail a lot of relationships. So yeah, I can agree.
And I think we like legit held that down. Mm-hmm. Like, we make things work. Period. Like, there's no excuses about it. We might stress. We might get depressed. We might get mad at each other every now and then, mm-hmm. Right? Because we don't know where to channel that anger, but we know that it's not a direct thing, right? Like, we're just frustrated. We're trying to figure it out, and I think that is so important. Like, finding different ways to make sure that your household is always straight is so important, because like, even if the jobs ain't coming through, let's make sure that we finding other ways to make this money come through this house, because ain't no homelessness happening around here.
Nah, I don't do good under bridges.
I don't do good under bridges, and I told you the other day I'm allergic to broke. Right? Like, that's not the life that we're meant to live. That's not the life that I was promised. I still ain't get my whatever acres and a mule, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just not, that's not the life that I live. But one thing that I can say is that our foundation is solid. Like, we know how to get through stuff, and we know how to get through it together. Like, I've been sick as hell too, right? So like, I've been in and out the hospital. Mm-hmm. I was in, till this day, I will tell people this story about you, because I will always remember this was one of those turning points for me when I believed that I knew that you was the one. You ready for this? Don't cry.
I'll try not to.
Okay, don't cry.
All
right. So, I remember when, you know, I was in the hospital for the diverticulitis, and they had to do, like, urgent surgery. They ended up admitting me, and I ended up staying in the hospital for a month. That was hell, first off. But I was in the hospital, Emory St. Joseph's. Well, no, it wasn't St. Joseph's. Emory Johns Creek.
Yeah,
it was Johns Creek.
Yep, I remember.
Emory Johns Creek. Shout out to Johns Creek, first of all, because they were amazing.
Yeah, they got a good staff.
They got a good staff. So if y'all ever need to be in the hospital or have to find yourself in the hospital,
knock on wood, hope none of y'all ever get hospitalized.
Right. I hope nobody has to go to the hospital.
But if you do, you try to make your way to Johns Creek.
Johns Creek was amazing. But either way, I was in there for a whole month. Not half a month. It might have been a little over a month, but
that's crazy.
But it was a month, and I remember losing my entire shit. Okay, I was over it. But let me tell you something. First of all, shout out to Mama. Okay, my mama, my mama got on the first thing smoking, mm-hmm. and she was in that hospital room with me every day. Okay, sleeping on the couch in the hospital room every day, like. After like day 10, you're like, all right, Mom, don't you want to go home? But but she was there, and that's what Mama does. But what I have to say about you, Roger, is you were still working a full schedule job, and you had our baby, the dog, Roxy.
Shout
out to Roxy. And you had Roxy. You were coming home, taking care of Roxy, and every day you did not miss a beat. You was in that hospital with me after work.
Of course.
On the weekends, you was just there. But during the week, you came after work. You stayed as late as you could, and then went home.
Even brought Roxy up there a couple times.
Brought Roxy when I was allowed to finally walk outside. You even brought the dog up there, and I promise you, I had told my mom that. I said that was the time period when I said, you know what, I love this man, but I think I'm really in love with who he is in my life. Because there's a lot of dudes, honey. First of all, in the past, when I've had just a little hospitalization where I might have had like some bronchitis or something, you know what I'm saying? And I had to be in the hospital for like a day or two. Dude ain't never come back.
Yeah, holla at you.
Holla at you. Get out. Yeah, he at the club kicking it with whoever.
Oh, you was at the hospital? Yeah.
Right.
You good now?
That's exactly how it was. Like, these dudes be so trifling. Like, they won't even come see you in the hospital when you there for a day, let alone every day for a month. So I want to salute you, my king, for doing just that. And that was when I knew that I love me some Roger. So that's my story.
That's a great story.
So how about you? When did you know that you love all the stickums?
When did I know? I don't know. I don't know that there was any particular turning point. At least nothing that I can think of. Just it was gradual, just dealing with everything that we went through. Like, you were talking about it before, just dealing with all the unemployment and just the financial struggles that we went through, and even you being in the hospital was part of it. Just everything that we went through, just all of that combined is kind of what makes me just think like, wow, this is something special that we have. But it was never any particular moment where I said, oh,
you saw that's how y'all dudes be, though. It don't be like
there was no light bulb that went off. I mean, but it's not necessarily a dude thing, because there can be times, it can be something that, you know, you do where a guy might say, oh yeah, she the one, she did this, oh yeah, she's the one. But I can't, there was no one instance with us. It just was like everything, a buildup of everything that we went through, just that made me just say, wow, this is strong, what we have.
And that is the word. Strong.
Strong.
We strong around here. And that's what I see as the foundation for everything, right? Like, I'm not following everybody else's definition of how you do love. I'm not listening to what everybody else is telling me how things should go. We follow our own wave. You know what I'm saying? Because we strong over here. You know what I'm saying? And some people don't understand it. Some people can't see it. Some people don't understand how we even got here. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, the other day when I was like 5 years, I was like, hold on, let me recount this. I need a recount.
You got a calculator?
Let me calculate. I'm like 5 years, and my mom was like, damn, time really does fly. And I'm like, yo, time really does fly. But you know what I can say behind when we go to this next step of marriage and kids and all that stuff? What I can say is that it's built on a real foundation. Can you agree?
I can agree.
I think the foundation is really important, right? Everybody does what they do differently, but I think that the foundation is really important. Really getting to know this person that you want to be with, really understanding them, knowing what you said earlier, knowing their boundaries, right? And really starting to incorporate, like, it is. A lot of people feel like they got to get into relationships and they just got to completely change who they are.
No, in my opinion, that's a bad idea. Don't try to change somebody, especially, you know, once you reach a certain age, you're going to be who you are. Of course, you're going to grow and add little, you know, little things to your character. You're going to grow as a person, but you're not going to change the fundamental person that you are. That's not going to change. So you can't get into a relationship with a person and say, well, I just wish that they would be more like this or be more like that. You know, you have to be willing to accept them, because if you're waiting for them to be someone else, then you're not really in love with that person. You're in love with what you think they might be in the future.
But I must say that I too believe that although that person is who they are, when they come to the relationship and you take them for who they are at their core, I feel that in a relationship you do try to not change for that person, but grow.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying before. You're going to grow and add little wrinkles to your overall personality, but you're not going to change the core of who you are. And some people get in relationships thinking they're going to change this person into an entirely different person.
Child.
Like, if this person was just, you know...
That's falling in love with the potential of, right? Yeah. Like when you can always push somebody like, oh, if I could just get them to do...
And that's fine to an extent. You know, you can see the potential in somebody and say, you know, just with the proper nudge, they could be even greater.
Right.
But if you're just looking at somebody who's devoid of any kind of, you know, redeemable qualities, and you're thinking that you're going to turn them around and make them into this just wonderful person, it's probably not going to happen. Not to say that it can't. Some people, you know, they start out as horrible people and are able to redeem themselves and become great people. It's, you know, there's all kinds of stories like that out there, but most times it's not going to happen in a relationship. If you meet somebody a certain way, they're going to pretty much be that person, you know, for the rest of their life.
Yeah, for the most part, that's quite accurate. It's quite accurate.
And what's the saying? I'd rather be loved for who I am I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not.
Ooh, what's that? I'd rather be
hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not.
I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. Ugh. You dropping bars on this podcast here, sir?
A little bit.
That's what. Okay. That's what you came to actually do. All right. It's a takeover, y'all. Oh, but I'm so excited that we got to just do this, because I honestly feel like something we said today is gonna resonate with somebody. It's really gonna like just hit them like, okay, maybe I've been pushing this dude off to the side because I'm expecting this dude to be perfect. Like as a woman, hello ladies, we got a checklist of things that we want.
Y'all do, not to interrupt you, but just going back to like my Plenty of Fish days. You know, you go over some of these profiles, and these girls have like a very specific checklist of what they want, and it's like you got to be, you know, willing to compromise on a few things. You can't say my man has to be exactly 6'2", 197 pounds, you know, and has to have his hair has to be a certain length, his teeth have to be a certain shade of white. Like, some of these women are very specific on what they want. Some of these men too. You know?
Yeah, I'm about to say, these men be out here.
You gotta have a 24-inch waist, a 40-inch.
Nah, I gotta be 24 and a half. Okay?
Yeah, 24 and a half. You know, 40-inch hips, and you can't. That's like you placing an order. You know, at a restaurant.
Welcome to Build a Man. How may I help you? No. Like that type of stuff. Yeah.
And you have your deal breakers. You gotta have.
That's the non-negotiables.
Yeah. Your base standards that, you know, this person has to be this, and that. You know, if they're not at least that, you know, we're not gonna work. But you gotta be willing to compromise on few things, especially as it pertains to like aesthetics. You know, you can't be too caught up in, you know. Speaking as a fella, you can't say, oh, she gotta have the biggest booty, or she gotta have this certain cup-sized breasts, and this and that, and just, you know, because all that changes over time.
Yeah.
You know, it can get better over time, it can get worse. It's just all of that. It changes. You know, beauty is something. Beauty looks can fade. Beauty comes to pass. You know, so you can't get too hung up on the way someone looks.
I think Music Soul Child said that I love you when your hair turns gray, and I'll still love you when you gain a little weight, but the way I feel for you will always be the same, just as long as your love don't change.
And I've got a few grays in my beard.
First of all, ain't know since I met you had them grays before you met me.
I had like 2 grays. I could count the gray hairs in my beard when I met you, and now they all over the place. I can't even count them.
I'm done with you. You had gray hairs
now I'm damn near.
Okay, but if we really want to go there, I got like 8 sitting on the top of my head since I've been with you. So
you can still count yours. You can still count yours. 8, exactly 8. That's 1 gray hair for any time I've ever done anything wrong these 5 years. All right, so I think pretty damn good.
Yeah, so guys, I think it's time to retire. This was good. This was good. Laughter. I hope somebody's getting something from this. Okay, through all our little laughs and all our bullshit, this is real talk, though. This is us being as transparent as we can at this point to really just help you see that, you know what, you might just be tripping just a little bit. Give yourself the opportunity to find what you need. Don't, ladies, keep your standards. Period. Keep your standards. Definitely have your checklist of what you want, but you never know if your future husband, baby daddy, whatever you want to call him, your future king might be sitting right in front of you, and you is pushing him off to the side. And he is exactly what was ordered for your life. So stop tripping. So I'm gonna leave it like this, right? We gonna go ahead and say, since it's 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here about to ask you this question. I'm over here like, damn, can I think off the top of my head? So 5 years. What is maybe one of the most, either 5 most important things or the most important thing that you've learned about our relationship?
The most important thing is that you got to be willing to step back and first of all, you have to compromise, but you have to be willing to take a step back and say, you know, am I at fault? You know, you have to be willing to look at things through the other person's eyes, you know, and I think I try to do that whenever we have a dispute or, you know, we don't see eye to eye on something. I try to see things from your perspective, you know, and I think you try to do the same thing. So I think that's the most important thing, because if you get so caught up in, no, I'm right and I was right all along and only seeing things from your perspective, that's not going to help the situation. You know, you have to be willing to take a step back and say, well, you know, I can understand where she's coming from, or I can understand where he's coming from. You know, even if you don't necessarily fully agree with it, but you got to be willing to take the other person's side into consideration. I think that's the biggest part. That's you know, good. The biggest thing that I've learned.
That's good. I like that. I think there's a lot of things I've learned, especially, you know, with the statement that I said to you the other day. I feel like I done grew up with you. But I think one of the things I definitely learned is that all men aren't the same. And I know I came in the beginning kind of giving you those vibes, like you remind me of, or blah blah blah, but it wasn't really that you reminded me of. It was I was still so stuck in my own hurt, and I was still just in that place of, you know, all men are the same, or I was just damaged, or if you would say something wrong, because, you know, I've also been, you know, verbally abused and stuff, so it would just be like, did he just say?
You were waiting for it. You were kind of expecting.
I was expecting it.
When you get hurt, you kind of expect that negative to come from the next person you deal with. So I can understand that.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I did learn, that all men are not the same, and patience, and that everything ain't worth arguing about. Like, there be some things I be wanting to say, and I'm sure you too. Like, there be some stuff I be wanting to bring up, and I'm like, yo. Sometimes I'll take a step back and I'll be like, yo, is this even worth? Like, does this really bother me this much? Like if there's a fork in the sink and there's nothing else in the sink or something like that. This is just a hypothetical situation. But if there's like a fork in the sink and it's like the only fork there, and I'm like, damn, why did he put the fork in the sink? Am I about to go, you know, bitch at you for this one fork, or am I just gonna go wash the fork and put it away and just call it as it is? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know so many households that go into huge disputes and arguments where they don't talk for like hours or days because of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like those little things where it's like, yo, everything is not everything is not war. And this person is not somebody I'm at war with. This is somebody I'm in a partnership with. We're playing for the same team. So I think I had to really understand what true partnership looked like and felt like. And that's one of the many things that I've learned over these years.
Yep. Because one of my ex-bosses at a job that I worked at, he was divorced. And he was just, I don't know how the topic came up, but he was talking about marriage. And he said, it's never one big thing that ends the marriage, but a bunch of small things that add up and lead to a divorce. And I don't know why that stuck with me. And so I try not to, don't sweat the petty stuff and don't pet the sweaty stuff. I don't know where I heard that saying before, but
don't sweat the petty stuff and don't pet the sweaty stuff. Like
I don't know where I heard that.
Okay.
But yeah, you just can't make a big issue over the little things, because it's never going to turn out good. If you're constantly finding something to get upset over, then you're going to be upset a lot.
Yeah, true. Very true. Whew. Well, this was a fun episode, right?
I had fun.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say hello. Did you hang up? Say no.
I didn't know if you were talking to me or you were talking to the listeners. So.
No, I was definitely talking to you.
Okay. But, yeah, this is fun.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna take him out of the dark sometimes now, y'all. I'm gonna bring him to the light because he actually got a lot to talk about. There are conversations that I have with this man that completely blows my mind sometimes because his level of intellect way surpasses mine, and I'm not even trying to hype him up. It is what it is.
Nah, you're selling yourself short.
No. Oh, what you saying, babe?
Don't way surpass your intellect. You are a very bright individual.
Oh, thanks, babe. I do know that though, but you lit when it comes to I'm way more yo, let's just do this junk right now. Give it to me right now. Let's get to it. And you are the dissector. You are the analytical one.
Yeah, I'm constantly analyzing and
that's you. So
thinking that's just
on the low. You kind of the brains behind me. You are. I'm. What would I be? I would be Pinky, and you would be the brain. Mm-hmm. But I'm a little smarter than Pinky. So
yeah, Pinky was kind of
Pinky was
slow.
a little ditzy. Yeah. So not Pinky necessarily, but it's the concept. So I really appreciate you, just coming on and being a part of this episode and loving me enough to, be on this journey with me, this truly inspired journey.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Ladies, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Listen, go back and listen to this. I know we said a whole bunch, but we also said some real good facts and some real good information to help you wherever you are right now. Probably want to go make your brother, your father, your cousin, your uncle, your boyfriend, your husband. Somebody might want to listen to this too. Sure, this is a good episode. I ain't even going to hold you up. But this was Chopping It Up with BAE. But y'all already know what time it is. I cannot wait to meet y'all on the next episode. But in the meantime, in between time, I'm going to catch y'all next time. See you.
It's time.